Good evening, everyone. Good evening. One quick check with AV. Are we good here? Are we live? Are you able to see me and hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you do. I think this one's not refreshed yet. Yeah. Good evening, Omkar. Good evening, Kabilan. Ishita, everyone. Yeah, all good. Apparently, Omkar is the first guy to probably be waiting. I think he has been sitting here since 7:45. Are we good here? Yes. I think we are live and clear. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. Great. Wanted to like fix it up. Right, good evening, everyone. Sakshi, everyone. Yeah, it's good to be here. We're gonna have one set of discussions. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. But I started to say that hey, we have 200 days left to CAT, and then I did the math. I had to like count the number of days, and then I realized starting from today, I left with some 196 days to CAT. And obviously, the one question that people have is I've been saving students starting yesterday, day before yesterday, a week before. We have a lot of aspirants do that. We see a lot of people start their prep, like serious prep in May. All this while they would have said, I'm going to prepare for CAT, and then they would have let it go. They would have eased off, and then come May, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to start prepare more seriously. I'm going to put in a lot of time here. So the one question that's probably sitting in your head is it too late? I tell people it is never late. In fact, I tell people better late than never. I think that's a very popular saying that we have. But when it comes to a context here, if you ask me this question, hey, am I really late? Do you really think I can crack CAT now? Is it really possible to get a good percentile from here in another 6 months? Is it possible? If you ask me this question, I give you a relative analogy here. Now, imagine this. If you ask me this question, and put your perspective into 3 lines here. Someone who started their prep in September, someone who started their prep in January, and then someone who's starting their prep in May now. Now, if you ask me this question, who's going to finish it off? Who's going to finish it sooner? Who's going to finish it early? Now, a lot of times I tell people it doesn't matter where you start. The key is how consistently you travel. Imagine, you have to understand that anyone who starts anywhere, they can reach the same point, do the same things, provided they put in a little more time, a little more consistency, because someone who started in September has the leverage to have a laid back attitude and say, I'm going to finish one topic a month. They could have done that. They could say, I'm going to finish arithmetic in 3 months. By the end of 2025, I would finish arithmetic. Then in another 3 months, I would finish algebra. Then another 3 months, I would probably put in my time and spend geometry. Now they have the leverage of time. Now when it comes to someone who is starting relatively late now, I don't even consider it late, but then in the context late in May, you don't have the privilege of saying I'll take 4 months to do arithmetic, 3 months to do arithmetic. The only drawback that you have here is you cannot schedule, okay, 3 months arithmetic, 3 months algebra. That is the only thing that you don't have it in you now. But nevertheless, if you can spend in a little more time on a day-to-day basis, hey, you can still reach the destination bang on time. That's the key here. That's important. Now, when I say this, now automatically that comes to the fact, okay, someone who's starting in May now, what should you do? I'm going to broadly classify your prep into 4 phases on a basis of your syllabus. Now, I'm going to focus exclusively on Quant. I might probably do 1 or 2 pointers in DLR or VARC, but I want to focus extensively on Quant. I'm going to tell you what to do and when to do. And I'm going to give you a briefing on what time period do you have. What can you accommodate in what time period. We'll also have a word about that. So if I look into 4 phases, I usually talk about these 4 phases and for anyone who starts in May. So your first phase, obviously no prizes for guessing. You start with arithmetic. Arithmetic any given day. It is as simple as it goes. What Kohli to RCB, what Dhoni to CSK, arithmetic to Quant, arithmetic to CAT. I'll even go to the extent of saying this chunk has 1/3 of your marks from Quant, 1/3 of the questions from Quant, has almost 95% tail in Quant. So this has to be there. This has to be the bedrock of your entire Quant preparation. But how much time can you afford? So that is a question that we can have. Now, I can probably give you, now I want you to understand anything that I do on the basis of timing is a rough estimate. I'm not going to tell you, I'm giving you 3 weeks time, finish 4 topics. Practically, that is not possible. We all have different pace when it comes to learning. So I cannot tell you, this is the time that I'm giving you. This is your deadline. If you extend the deadline, it's fine. Rushing through your syllabus has got nothing to do with learning. The more you rush, the lesser you take from it. The absorption rate goes down. So remember that. So if I have to give you a time frame for this, my phase 1, I would roughly say you have percentages, you have profit and loss and SICI, and then you have ratios, mixtures, averages, and then you have linear quadratic equations, and then you have time and work, time, speed, distance, pipes and systems. Time and work and pipes and systems happen to be one and the same. And I'm just giving you some, I wanted to put something over there, so I've given you that over there. So this could solidly take you to finish all the concepts, all the learnings. This would somewhere around take you 60 days for sure. To learn, to practice, to get some idea, like to a very convenient spot. It will solidly take you some 60 days. This has to be your first priority. These 4 are super important because this is going to be the bedrock. Arithmetic is the bedrock of Quant. This is going to be your mothership of your entire Quant, of entire arithmetic to go to that extent. You need to have some understanding of percentages. You need to have some understanding of ratios and mixtures, and then linear quadratic equations. This is going to be super important. Ensure that you do not skip anything, at least when it comes to these 3 topics. These 3 topics are critical, they are crucial. Any learnings that you have in other topics takes base from here. We have seen that in our classes. Any question that we do in arithmetic has some part of percentages or ratios or equations one way or the other. So you cannot skip this. That is there. That needs to be there. So spend some 60 days over here. And then when it comes to phase 2, now this is quite debatable. Now, I have always had my differences with other mentors. In all through my life, I've always had a debate about having number theory in priority list. In my head, number theory has a nice priority. The reason why I put number theory above algebra is the fact that, of course, on a weightage perspective, this beats. Algebra beats number theory by a fair margin. The reason why I have number theory in a top priority, why I have it in phase 2, is for a reason. Now, the more you get to know about numbers, the more comfort you build with numbers, your calculation speed or your understanding of question improves. I am not putting number theory on the basis of weightage. Be very clear. My reason for number theory is not about weightage. My reason for placing number theory high in my priority is because of the comfort that it starts providing you for solving questions. Number 1. Number 2. Now, when you do number theory, it not only serves your purpose in Quant, it also gives you an edge in DILR. You are also parallelly preparing for DILR. When you do percentages, mixtures and ratios and other stuff, you are also covering one part of it for DI. When you do LR, when you do number-based puzzles, you need to have an understanding of numbers, odd, even, prime, composite. You need to have a complete understanding of those numbers, and to do that, I'm gonna keep number theory a little on the top of the priority. Now, if you say I am going to skip number theory through and through, do that, go forward and do it. But the least that I'll expect you is classification of numbers, factors and multiples, reminders. Just do these. Not the complex level questions. If not, at least the basics of these questions needs to be there. It has to be there. So cover those basics at least. That's important. and then followed by functions and graphs, logarithms, inequalities and modulus, set theory. Again, set theory is also necessary for your LRDA now. So you don't get a lot of set theory questions in quant. Very minimal you get. Occasionally I've gotten one or two. So it's not that much of an important topic, but then it has some part of math sitting in it. So that's why I put set theory here. So these two, number theory and set theory, gives you a comfort with DALR, and it is also relatively easy to cover it up for the basics alone, the least. Now this would solidly take you somewhere around 40 to 50 days. This will solidly take you 40 to 50 days, definitely. Right. When you jump to phase 3 now, of course, this has to be the geometry model now. The one other reason why I have geometry a little late, we put obviously these two are priorities. I'm going to keep geometry next. Most of us keep geometry as a third part here. It's vast. It's big. It's a lot of things. Theorems, axioms, you have to come across a lot of ideas here. Converse of a theorem, you have to understand circles, triangles, polygons, similar triangles, congruent triangles, chords. You have to run through a lot. This is way too big for the number of questions that it offers you. You barely get what, 3 to 4, not even 4, barely 2, 3, 4 questions is what you have. And trigonometry is going to be super crucial. It's going to be super painful. All we have learned is sine, cos, tan, cosecant, secant, cot, and then you don't even remember what they are. And then coming back to do that again, it's a pain. Coordinate geometry is another challenge. So obviously there's a lot going here. The one probably the easiest topic among the lot is mensuration. Nice topic. We already know volume, square, the area, the surface area. We know a bunch of things. Now this is going to be a little advanced. So this is relatively easy, but the other parts are quite challenging. I'm not going to deny you. It's not there. It's tricky. I'm going to agree to the fact that it is tricky. Now this should probably give you another 40 days. I want to say 40 days effectively, because you know there's a plus or minus here. There is a come and go here. We touch bases. So another 40 days. And then finally when you go to phase 4, most of the times people skip phase 4. They don't do any PNC. On your best day you get one question. Do I have to do one PNC? Is more logical than mathematical. So when it comes to that probability and all these things, a lot of people give up on probability PNC and then say, I'm not going to do that one question, which is completely fine. I like it. Personally, I have a huge crush over PNC, but I'm not going to stuff it up on your head and say, hey, PNC is super cool. I am someone, I tell people, if all 22 questions come from PNC, I'll be happy. I'm not saying I'll get all 22 questions right. I'm saying I'll be happy. That's challenge. There's a lot of logic going in. I would love it. But then you can dump it if you want. But I'm not going to talk about dumping here. The very sole reason being that is we are in May. I want you to cover some part of it. Some very, at least the basics with repetition. What is permutation? What is combination? What is basic probability? Cover those bases at least. Progressions is obviously doable. APGP is definitely something that's nice to work with. I'm not going to give this more than 20 days. In fact, 10 days is more than sufficient to do this. Now, these times that I'm providing here is inclusive of your prep, revision, practice, everything. It could take somewhere around 10 days. So if you probably add that this was some 60 days, 40, 140, somewhere around 150 days, 160 days. Touch and go 160 days, give and take. So you probably have another 36 days, 40 days back. Balance, which is somewhere in the middle of October. Beautiful time to cover up all your syllabus. The latest that you can cover your syllabus, finish your syllabus, somewhere in the middle of September or early October. You can take time till September, October. Some people still cover a bunch of things in October, but someone who's starting today in May, covering your syllabus by September end or beginning of October is a good spot to be. It's definitely a good spot to be in. You have another 40 days to do mocks, analysis and everything. There's a lot of things going in. So you'll have enough, sufficient time to do all of that. I'm giving you ample space for all of this. 60 days for arithmetic, 40 days for algebra, 40 days for geometry, 10 days for this. You still have a lot of time, and that is enough time to do each of the phases that we have over here. So These are give and take values. I want you to understand that these are approximations. They are not solid time frames. I cannot give you a solid time frame. If someone's giving you a solid time frame, it means that they are coming from an ideal case scenario. I don't want to give you an ideal case scenario because we all are imperfect. We all have our priorities placed. We all have our pace in learning. So it has to be different. So these are give and take values. Just get to that part alone. Okay. Before I go to the next slide, I want to have one quick look at the chart here. Michael says, मेरा academic बहुत weak है, क्या मुझे अच्छा B school मिले? Michael, there are a couple of things in the end where I'm going to address that. We'll have that. When to start mock? Phase 4 and 3 can be skipped. Omkar, again, we are in May. When in May, I will never allow you, I will never tell you, you can skip something. It comes from a matter of preference again. So you have to understand that. Me personally, as a teacher standing here, I would recommend you to not think about skipping topics in May. In May, repeat. Now, when you ask me the same question, sir, I'm starting in August. Can I skip geometry? I'll close my eyes and say, do arithmetic and go. That's the time that you'll have to do it. You'll have only enough time to do arithmetic and algebra. You won't even have time. You'll have to rush. You'll have to do 10 hours of preparation every day. That will drain you out. But today, standing here on May, I don't know what, I forgot what date today is. It's 16th of May. I'm telling you, don't skip anything. I'm not telling you never skip. I'm telling you today, don't approach a topic in the mindset of skipping. That's all I'm telling you. Okay. Kabilan is asking when to start marks and how to analyze it. We'll do that. If you have any questions to shoot, put it over here. We'll sit, we'll listen, and then we'll go through it. Okay. Now, we are done with where to begin and how to begin. But here comes my question. Next question. Hey, is that enough? I've learned. Are we good? Now you are telling me, hey, there's 196 days left. Solidly 6 months. So can we think about it as preparation strategy? May to July, I'll learn. August to September, I'll practice. October to November, I'm going to do mocks. Is this what you are telling me? Or are you telling me, and this is sectional focus? We are talking about prep strategy and then we are talking about sectional focus. You'll be hear me out. Hey, should I focus more on one section and then like this? Now, this is something that you shouldn't be doing. This is a big no. If you look at the graphs here, do I have to do it in this phase of preparation strategy? And this is how I split my time across sections. The answer is a big no. You cannot. You simply should not be doing this. Probably the right way to address this is, and that's how you do it. Now, if you notice, all the phases in the prep months, May to July, you learn, you practice, you take a mock. You learn, you practice, you take a mock. All these 3 departments comes across throughout the time. Now you might be wondering, how can I do a mock in May, in July? I'm telling you, without taking a mock, there is no way you are getting comfortable with this test. There is no way you are understanding how to approach it. Your time management, your question selection, there's a hell of a lot of things going on. The first and foremost thing to this is your discipline to the test. Mindset. You have to create a mindset. You have to create an atmosphere where you can sit and tell yourself, okay, I am ready for this. And that does not come without any mocks. I will talk about how many mocks, when, how, and what should be done. We'll have one talk about that. If you notice, from the previous case to here, I did not define a section. If you notice, I did not define a section. And if you have noticed, they are not equally placed. There's no equal distribution here. Why? Now, if you look from here to here, this is over focused and this is heavily under focused. But then when you come here, this is still over focused, but then moderately fine. What am I trying to tell you here? Now, you cannot, I have seen a lot of people focusing extremely on quant. They'll be like, hey, I've gotten some understanding about VARC. I'm good at it. But my math is super weak. I'm not going to prepare anything on VARC and I'm going to focus my time heavily on quant. Over focusing on any one section is wrong. I'll say over focusing on quant is wrong. Over focusing on DLR is wrong. Over focusing on VRC is wrong. But Why am I not distributing it equally? If you look at it, you will notice the distributions are not equal. What am I trying to tell you here? Now, we all have our strong suit in one way or the other. It could be anything. It could be quant, DLR, VRC, or VRC, DLR, quant. It could be anything. This could be quant, this could be, I don't know. For you, one section feels to be good. You find it to be comfortable. It is there in your zone. So you might want to spend a little more time on that, right? Either of that is fine. Now, weaker topics, give it equal importance, but ensure that you can score more in one section. Now, if you score, for example, if you score, let's say some 18 in quant, and then you score 52 in VRC per se, give and take, seems to be good. 18 is a good score. But if you are going to score 7 in one section and then 40 in another section, 40 is great. It's great. It's brilliant. 7 is not. So the places where you find it to be relatively less comfortable, ensure that you clear cutoffs, you get a bare minimum number of scores, a bare minimum marks over there. That's important. Now, a lot of times people get great scores in VARC and they flunk in quant, and their overall sectionals, their sectionals gets hit, it gets destroyed. Your overall percentile will look great, but your sectional will be destroyed. So don't fall for that trap. So where you want to focus moderately high depends on what your strategy is. What is your strategy? Am I covering or am I clearing cutoffs and then focusing to get better marks in one section? Your stronger section gets a little more time. Remember that. But if you are saying, hey, one of these sections are relatively, I'm finding it to be a lot difficult than the other two sections, that means that section should be getting more time. So which section is taking more time depends on what your strategy is. Strategy matters here. It depends. If you say, I will get 20, 20, 20 across 3 sections, solidly I'll get it. 60 marks, good spot to be in. But you are aiming for 80, 85. Say 90 marks. You are looking for the 90th percentile, 99th percentile here. Oh, you have to get another 30 marks. Now you cannot split this 30 marks as 10, 10, 10 marks now. Not possible. So what will you do? You will say, I'm going to get 15 to 20 marks in one of the sections that I'm super comfortable with. And then try to grab those. I will scatter around and get those 15 marks in the other 2 sections, and then you're good. Your strategies change. Your perspective change. Your focus on sections change, depend on what you want to do. Be very clear with it. There is no compromise on what we are doing. I have to understand that you cannot just like that sit for 2 hours and then say, I solved 20 questions. You cannot have that attitude. You have to be committed to that. You have to put in focus, and to do that, all these ideas are important, right? Again, one quick look at the chart here. Ajit Rai is okay. Sankalp is asking how much accuracy to target in DPPs now. Sankalp will go there. My main concern is quants. Studying daily for 2 hours, I can't even solve 3 to 4 questions by my own Omkar. Okay, Sakshi, my quant is a bit weak, so I am dicey about taking mocks. Sakshi, about mocks, there are 2 things. We'll do that. What will be a good percentile to target? Kabinet. There's a set of good questions to address. We'll address them all. Now, one thing that I often talk about is, I think we have done that in class over and again. I keep telling people, you do a topic today, you practice the DPPs, and you revisit that some 2 to 3 weeks later. Bare minimum 2 weeks. Minimum 2 weeks has to be there. There has to be a gap. And then you revisit it. And there is a reason. There is one reason why we do that. We have seen that in classes. When you do a revision, it helps you to build strong foundation in a better fashion, in a better manner. What do I mean by that? Now, let's say you learn a topic today. I want to put it in a beautiful graph and then show it to you. Let's say you learn a topic today. So when you learn a topic, you learn all the topics, all the concepts, all the questions in it, and then you are covered. But the problem is, we all have witnessed it. You give it some time, it deteriorates, right? It gradually deteriorates. You give it some time, you have learned something, you will feel like, hey, it seems so cool. And then a week later, you realize you have forgotten it. Another week later, you realize that you have forgotten a lot of ideas that you have learned. It dips. whatever you have learned, you retain probably what 30 to 40% of that. At that moment is where you do a revision and then try to regain it. What is the benefit of doing it? Just giving you a basic graph here. The moment you learn it here, the moment you revisit and revise a concept and you build that foundation, now obviously in another 2 weeks time, you are again going to forget something. There is no doubt about it. There is absolutely no doubt about the fact that I learned something today, 2 weeks later I forgot something and then I did a revision. 2 weeks later from that, you will still forget. But the nice idea is that you won't lose that many. You'll probably lose a little lesser than that. At that time, you do one more revision. The third time you do, you lose less. And every time that happens, if you notice, you will start maintaining the streak. You will continue to gain momentum over concepts. But at the same time, you will notice that your retention power increases. Your retention was 30%, then 50%, then 70%, then 10%. Your retention gets better. What does it mean? The third time probably you do it, you're pretty much comfortable about it. And it is bound to happen. We forget 1 or 2 ideas every now and then. I will go to the extent of saying that's fine. Don't bother about it. Those are petty ideas that we are worried about that will organically get better. So don't worry about that. But if you can do a phased revision every now and then, it's great, right? So that's what I say, average content retain. But the brilliant one idea that we hear is, I think we have talked about, we all would have heard about the law of marginal depreciation. Oh, look at this. You will start retaining better, but at a certain point, it will start getting stagnant. And that is the point you will realize, okay, spending another 1 hour on this is not going to be really significant. You will come to that idea, okay, I think I've done enough revision. I've revised this concept 2 or 3 times. Now revising it for one more time, I don't think it is going to help me out. Now revising it one more time, probably let's say it's going to help me by remembering 5% of the concepts again. Is it really worth it? I will think about it. I don't think I'll spend that 2 hours of time on that. That's what we say. At a certain point, it dips, it keeps flat. That is the point where you tell yourself, okay, I am done revising this concept. I think I've pretty much retained everything that I need to know. I will do it in mocks, and the revision will happen with mocks and analysis and feedback. It's not a separate 1 hour time of revision anymore for that topic. You'll have to put a bar. That's what I say, you don't oversolve beyond a point. What people do is they'll continue to do it here. After this, no matter what you do, it will go like this only. What is the point? If it goes, if it increases, if it steeps, I'll be happy. But if you forget to revise here, the problem is you will start losing. Here it will go like this, here it will go like this, here it will go like this. That's the importance. It dips here drastically, it dips here moderately, it dips here just fine, and this is pretty much almost insignificant loss. That is a point you tell yourself, I think I've done enough. And how do you know that? You will know it. The persistent solving, the persistent commitment that you have will let you know when to stop, when you can tell yourself this is enough, right? Any doubts? I think this is a beautiful graph. I think I heard someone say this and then I had to find it and then I wanted to deliver it to you. And then it was nice. The revision part is super important. When I do a mixed bag class, I want to incorporate every idea that we discussed. When I am doing a sectional, I want to focus on the questions, concepts that I've learned very recently. That's what we do, right? So keep doing it over and again. This gets a lot better from there, right? Here comes a couple of questions. Should we do arithmetic mixed bag now? Ajit, yeah, you can. If you feel like you have done like 50-60% of the questions, the topics in arithmetic, go for it. Of course, there will be some 4 or 5 questions that you will make you feel like, I don't even know what this is, which is fine. Go for it. I'll recommend you to have 1 or more topics. Typically, your arithmetic is going to be profit and loss, SI, and then ratios, mixtures, allegations, mixtures, time and work, time, speed, distance. Once you finish this off, I think you are good to go. You can start doing all arithmetic. If you have done enough topics to do arithmetic mixed bag, go for it. Go for it. Right. How much accuracy should I target in DPPs? Sankalp, there are two questions. I'm going to filter it out here. One question, how many questions should I target? How many questions, what should be my accuracy in DPP? Now, how many questions in DPP? I will say, are you solving it for the first time? Out of 30 questions, if you can get your hands on 15 of them, I've been saying this since day one. Anyone, if you are looking at your DPP for the first time, without attending class, without knowing the concepts, and straight jumping into the DPPs, fine. If you can get your hands on 7 of those questions, you are already in a good spot. After class, if you can go and improve that mark, if you can take it to 15, you are in an excellent spot. 1/3 of the paper without any prep practice, it's a great spot to be in. 10 questions out of the 30 questions in the DPP, if you can get it right, you are in a great spot. Accuracy can never be compromised. Number of questions, done. Accuracy. When it comes to accuracy, I'm going to say even if you solve 3 questions out of 30, your accuracy should be 100%. I am not worried about how many questions you attempt, but I'll be super worried about how many questions you get accurately. Solve 2 questions, 100%. 100%. Now you cannot, it's never a trade-off between accuracy and the number of questions. Now in your head, if you think like, hey, I can solve 10 questions, get 7 of them right, is entirely different from attempting 7 and getting 7 right. I would understand. In fact, if I'm going to get 100% accuracy, I can even afford to get 5 questions right. They both are same. I will spend my time with 5 questions, get all 5 of them right, get 15 marks, rather than solve 10, get 7 of them right and lose 3 marks and go to 18 marks. Solving 10 questions, getting 18, solving 5 questions, getting 15. I am happy with the second trade-off. 5 out of 5 is a better trade-off for me. Accuracy can never be a compromise for anything. Anything. Call it pace, call it number of questions, anything. The moment you say accuracy, that stands on the top of the peak, on the mountain. It's at the pinnacle of it. No compromise on accuracy. So how many questions, how much accuracy should you target in DPPs now? Since you are talking about it in May, again in a very fresh stance, I will say the tolerance of 80-85% accuracy in your papers today is a great spot to be. Brilliant time to be in. 85% is 80-85% accuracy today, fresh for a topic, is great. 2 months from here, you will have to think about a strategy to make that 85% become 95%. That needs to happen. You cannot consistently say, I've been getting 85% regularly. I'm consistently getting 85% accuracy. I'm in a good spot. No. If you keep saying 85% accuracy for 3 months, I think something's wrong. You need to work on that and then try to improve your accuracy. That should be there. Right. Omkar says, my main concern in quant is quants. Studying daily for 2 hours, I can't even solve 2 to 4 questions by my own. Omkar, the amount of time you spend with the topic is immaterial. If you feel like I have spent 2 hours, yet I'm not able to solve questions, maybe the 2 hours that you are spending is the quality of the 2 hours might have to get better. I'm looking at this in 2 perspectives. One perspective, the 2 hours quality, I think that something is getting beaten up here. You might have to think what it is, or you might probably have to spend a little more time on the concept. Now, if you can understand something in a class, if you can understand that question solving in the video, in a recorded video, you look at the question, you look at the text solution, and then you tell yourself, hey, I could have solved this. It is just that I didn't know where to begin. It means that it's a lack of practice. It's not lack of knowledge. There cannot be lack of knowledge at this age. That's what I tell people. It's a lack of practice. I think it's a practice issue that we all have. You have to figure out a way to tell yourself, I might have to remember this idea connected to this type of question. So when we did linear equations, quadratic equations, we talked about parabolas. When I said quadratic equations, it's a parabola. An upward facing parabola has a minimum point. A downward facing parabola has a maximum point. How do you know it's upward facing? The coefficient of x square is 1, positive. How do you know the parabola is downward facing parabola? You know that the coefficient of x square is negative. You will have to relate that idea. You have to connect it. The moment you look at something, two extremes, you'll have to think about allegations. The moment you saw maximum and minimum value of a quadratic equation, you think about completion of squares. All these ideas should come to you naturally, and that comes to you naturally by solving more questions. When you look at a solution and then you go like, oh, this is how you do it, I understand this, which means that you didn't know how to apply that idea. And you will get to know how to apply that idea when you solve questions. The one word that I will keep saying day in and day out, any given day, is practice. Your most powerful weapon when it comes to your prep is practice. Ensure that you keep doing it enough times so that you can get over there. Right? Sakshi says, my quant is a bit weak, so I'm dicey about taking mocks. Sakshi, you cannot be dicey about taking mocks. You cannot worry about your scores. You cannot tell yourself, hey, my quant is not great, I'm going to postpone my mocks. Never postpone it. Mocks are super important. Any day, any time, mocks has to be there. Mocks needs to be there. It has to give you the idea, the mindset to prepare, and that needs to be there. Do not worry about the scores for the first two mocks. Scores of first, even I didn't go to the extent of saying few mocks. Don't worry. Your mock scores for the first few mocks, it doesn't matter. Get negative, get minus 68. Right? Get minus 68. Completely fine. It's okay. Why do you bother about your mock scores in May? Take a mock in May. Take two mocks. Probably what we are in 16. You can take a mock or two in May. Starting from June, take a mock every week. Every week. If you have given 25 to 30 mocks, 25 is a sweet spot. 30 is good. 35, 40 and all is a little too much for me. In my head, I do not recommend beyond 30. But if you can get your hands on beyond 30 mocks and then still feel confident, still have the josh to continue, go for it. But from an average student perspective, 25 mocks is a sweet spot. Anything between 25 to 30 is a good number. Start taking a mock from June. One mock every week. Some people say start taking mocks from July, August. I tell June. Now, the more you postpone your mocks, the lesser mocks you take, the lesser analysis you do, the lesser score patterns to worry about. Not a good sign. If you can start your mocks in August and still give 30 mocks, okay. But not more than 2 mocks a week. Never more than 2 mocks a week. Maybe in October, even 3 mocks is draining. The moment you start giving mocks, you'll understand. Some people say, can I give 3 mocks? 3 mocks is not everyone's cup of tea. 2 mocks is good. 3 is a painful spot to be in. The trade-offs, you might have to worry about that. Then 2 mocks is a very decent time. September last 2 weeks, October 4 weeks, November 2 weeks, have 2 months, 8 weeks. This 8 weeks alone will give you 16 mocks in your time. Solid 16 mocks. Super time. And then you think about September, August, July, June. You have September, August, July, June. You have roughly 3.5 months. 14, 15 weeks. That is giving you another 15 mocks. 30 mocks done. Beautiful time frame. Beautifully, you can craft your schedule such a way that you can take 1 mock a week from June and still finish very conveniently 30 mocks. You can do that. The first 1 to 5 mocks, don't worry about your scores. Your scores are immaterial in the first 2 to 3 mocks. You cannot worry about, hey, I got -5. I got only 2 marks in quant, you are creating a mindset to write. You are looking at the pattern. You are looking at what type of questions come. You look for repetition. You look for consistency in the type of questions that you get. A familiarity. You are building familiarity here. You are writing the first few marks for that only, not for scores. So don't worry about taking marks. Do not. Marks of all the things, your mark scores for the first few marks is the least that you should be worried about. Make a note of it. And I'm giving you an assurance over there, right? What will be a good percentile to target? Kapilan, when I'm telling you about preparation, I am not talking to you about targets. Targets are something that's not in my radar as a teacher to my student. I cannot tell you what is a good percentile today. We'll have a conversation about that probably in August. In September, we'll have a discussion. We'll do one live that time, and then I'll tell you what should be a decent percentile that you should be hitting now. If you are hitting 70 percentile today, 60 percentile today, still great. Why worry about the percentile when you are on a learning curve? Your learning curve, you don't worry about scores. When you have started giving marks, lesser about learning, more about analysis. That's what I showed you in the first slide as well. When your marks take precedence, your learning gets cut. Your practice gets more importance. So you cannot worry about mark scores when you are learning. They too are inversely proportional. More the learning, lesser the marks is where the face is. Lesser the marks, obviously, you are not really looking at the scores. So don't worry about that today. We'll have a discussion later. Ajit is asking, should we do DPP in quiz mode or in practice mode? Ajit, start with quiz mode. If you feel like, hey, let me give it a go, start with quiz mode. Do a couple of DPPs in quiz mode. If you feel like that you are losing out on momentum, or if it is demotivating you, if you feel like, hey, I'm taking more time to solve a question, come to practice mode, take enough time. My solid recommendation now will be, do that in practice mode. Do not worry about the time that you take to solve a question. I'm pretty sure Amit sir would have told you not to worry about your timings to solve a set today. 2 months from now, yes, you need to worry about it. In mocks, you need to worry about your time. You need to worry about set selection. You need to worry about the time that you are investing. There has to be a time target. But today, here in learning, do that in practice. Gradually learn it. Take 40 minutes to understand a question. Another 15 minutes to solve a question. Take 1 hour to get it done. Fine. Don't worry. My recommendation today will be do that in practice mode. Then we'll go to a test mode later on. Right. I think we have pretty much covered every question here as of now. We'll just jump on to one other slide. I have something else here. Yes. Now, this is where we had a bunch of questions that we had, and I'm going to address every question here. So you need to understand what matters now, what doesn't matter now. That's what I'm saying. What matters more and what not to worry about now. The least I'm telling you is don't worry about it now. Right. Obviously, the first thing, building strong concepts than rushing through the syllabus. Even if you are covering I give you 2 weeks rather than covering 4 topics with 50% knowledge in it. I will say solve 2 topics with 100% knowledge. So do not rush when you are covering syllabus. So build strong foundation, crucial. There is no trade-off. For a bunch of things over here, zero trade-offs. There is no better trade-off that we have for all these points. Next one, obviously consistency. I think I've been using this word day in and day out. Consistency. You have to build consistency. You have to build that commitment, discipline. The right word that I use here is discipline. So you have to be consistent over studying. So rather than telling yourself, I won't study for 3 days and then put 8 hours in a day and then don't do that. You will start building fatigue. You will start creating this disinterest towards the topic now. Don't do anything over extreme phase now. Do it consistently. 2 hours is good. 0.06 is still 6 hours. Too much work. Don't do that. Not a good spot to be. But 006 works for WorkX people now. Now, if you are a student, if you are in your final year now, obviously you will have some enough time after coming back from school. But if I have any WorkX people here, now their entire week is jam-packed. Obviously, it's jam-packed. The only resolution that you folks will have is on weekends. In those places, you are left with no choice, do that. Even then, I will go to the extreme case of recommending you at least spend 45 minutes every day. Every day. Spend, apart from anything that you do, spend time on reading, 45 minutes on solving or watching a class or doing something on an everyday basis. See, no matter whether you are a student or a WorkX, that is fine. But if you really have the leverage, split it as widely as you can than cramping it in one day. Don't do that. Okay. Developing a strategy, then this is something that I've seen over time. A lot of people do this. They look at someone who has got great scores, they hear them out what they did, and they try to replicate the plan. Now, is there a topper's plan? It is a topper's plan that has been customized by the topper himself or herself. Know that. You cannot ask me what is your topper plan to achieve. This is like telling me, asking me how to impress a girlfriend. You cannot impress my girlfriend. How can you do that? Not possible. That's not happening. So, any topper has a customized plan. Go ask every topper that they have, every topper that you know, they all will give you a different idea everywhere. They won't match. There will be some 50-60% sync, but they are never 100% same across the table. So don't try to replicate it. Developing a strategy for yourself is more important than copying it from a topper. Strengthening weak areas repeatedly than solving comfortable. This is what I was talking to you some time back. Now the topics that you feel like that you are weak, now is the time to reinforce them. You won't have the time in August. You won't have the time in September. The topics that you feel like, hey, I feel like I'm a bit weak here, strengthen them now. The next 2 months, May, June, July is your time to tell yourself, I haven't been comfortable with this topic. Let me try strengthening it. Now is a good time to do that. And then learning from mistakes. I think I've been saying this, make mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. For all you know, your error log is your new syllabus. Your error log tells you which topics to dump, which topics you should attempt more, which topics you should focus extensively. So learn from your mistakes. I'm telling you, make mistakes. It's okay. It's completely fine to make mistakes. A lot of times people think that I'm making a lot of mistakes. I tell them, okay, you know, now you have a plan on what not to do. That's good. Your error log is good. Build that error log and then see whether that error log is dipping. It will. Gradually it will dip. Don't worry about, don't sweat over the fact that you are making mistakes. I think someone in the class yesterday was telling me that I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm weak in math. Doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter whether you are good at math or weak at math, whether you are making mistakes or not. All that matters is, are you learning from your mistakes? That's important. The more you do, the better you get. Right. So I'm telling you, there are no trade-offs for any of the points that we just spoke about. What not to worry about? Obviously your past academics. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it now. What can you do? Let's say you have a 777. Pondering over a 777, will that get you a good admit? No. Will you convert a call? Pondering, can you change it? No. Then why worry about it? Tell yourself, okay, I have a bad academic. I'm going to get a kick-ass percentile in CAT and I'm going to overpower this with that. What colleges you convert comes later. In your preparation, this has got nothing to do. Nothing. This is something, some metric that you have no control over. And then obviously other aspirants being ahead of you. We have seen that in class a lot. Every time a new student joins, we see that. They say, hey, I'm feeling a little intimidated because the other people are answering those questions. Of course they will. Of course they will. That's what I said. They have a head start. Just because, I tell this again, just because someone has an advantage doesn't mean that you have a disadvantage. They can say, hey, I have an advantage. I started early. You cannot say, oh, they started early. I have a disadvantage. Context matters. Perspective matters. If I start in Jan, I'll say, if you are starting in May, I can come and tell you, you know what? I started in January. I have advantage, time advantage. When you look at them, you can say, yeah, I started in May, but I'm investing more time than you do on a day-to-day basis. I don't have a disadvantage. Someone's advantage is not someone's drawback. You have to understand that. It depends on the perspective. It purely is a resonance of where you come from. To give you a context here, there is an airport here in Chennai. I live in Chennai. There is an airport in Bangalore. There is an airport in Pondicherry. No one takes a flight from Chennai to Bangalore or Pondicherry. I have never come across someone except business trips. Most people either prefer a personal commute by car or a bus. Why? Pondicherry is 1.5 hours away from here. You pick your car, that's 2 hours drive. For a flight, that's 45 minutes flight. 45 minutes ahead of time, you have to go check in and then come out and then travel. That is 3 hours. Flight is good. Under what perspective is a question? That's an advantage. But to me, my car is my advantage. I have never traveled to any of these two cities in a flight, ever. I haven't seen anyone do that. Maybe someone does it. Doesn't mean that they have an advantage. Remember that. That is the financial gap that they have. I can afford to get a ticket. I choose not to. So you have to come from a perspective, and then you say, yeah, I'm not going by a flight. I'm good with this. I'm taking 6 hours, but I'm good. I'm happy. From where do you look at that problem matters. Perspective matters. So never worry about others being ahead of you. That should be the least of your concerns. Then one section being weak now, it's not a thing to worry about. You have enough time to get better. Don't say, I think we have been hearing people say, I'm weak in quant. What do I do? You're weak in quant. Yeah. You didn't expose yourself to math in your school, in your college. Oh, that will take time. It's okay. Why bother over it? Why ponder over the fact that you know it's a fact? You'll get better. Tell yourself it's fine. Don't worry too much about this today. Again, all of this I'm talking from a May perspective. It's not a permanent perspective that I'm giving you. Today, from here, 6 months later, this is not a problem. Right? And making mistakes during practice right now. So these two are same. Make mistakes, don't worry about it. Same idea. And finally, don't worry about things you cannot control. Exactly. There are two metrics that we have, controllable, uncontrollable. This is something, a bunch of things are not under your control anymore. If something is under your control, I'd have put it here. These are things that's not under our control. Why worry? Leave it. Leave it to the rest. Focus on what you want to do. Right? One quick look at the chat here again. That's why I rarely attend live class, because of second point of the second. Exactly. This is something that intimidates people extensively. Like it worries them. You seriously have a problem. You feel like you're left out. You feel like you are the black sheep in the crowd. I understand this. I've been a victim of this point. I've been there. I have understood this. In my 11th, when I had another language. In 11th, I took a different language. Started feeling left out. I took Sanskrit in 11th so that I can score better in 12th. That's what we do. Felt so left out. Everyone in the class was so good because all of them had been learning Sanskrit from 6th standard. I was the only new student to the class. It made me feel a bit left out. I was worried. Oh, can I do this? It was super intimidating. I've been there. I've been a recipient of this intimidation. I understand that. Don't let that bother you. Do not let that hamper your preparation. That's very important. Right. Sankalp is asking, please prescribe the volume of practice in terms of time invested and number of questions. Sankalp, that's a very subjective question, Sankalp. For some people, 20 questions is a good spot to learn an idea. For some people, 40. For some people, it is 100. I tell people, you don't have to randomly solve 100 questions. If you have a phased 20, 25 questions, that's what I do for classes. I pick the best of the best questions. There are other templates that I would possibly miss in the class, because I feel like these templates are more important than that. It's a phased preparation in the class. It should be the same thing for you. This is where I tell you folks to take mocks. You'll understand the pattern. And anyone who creates a mock, irrespective of whoever is creating it, they create it with a cat paper as a base. So they stem out from that idea. So they are giving you a variant of cat paper from their perspective. So that gives you an idea on what more to focus on and what not to. But if you really insist me on giving me a number, I usually say the ballpark in getting comfortable with the topic is somewhere around 40 to 50 questions. The moment you hit 40-50 questions in a topic, you start getting the vibe of the topic. I don't have to do 100. I will even go to the extent of saying 30 to 40. But I want to be a little safe and then say 40 to 50 questions each topic. You have a ballpark number. It could be give or take 50. But I'm telling you, the moment you hit 50, you will start feeling a comfort with it. It's not that big a problem. Okay. And then, so that's pretty much everything that you need to know. Sometimes people say there is a popular philosophical quote that says, don't worry about the path, worry about the destination. That's what people say. It's very philosophical. They say, are you helping people? It doesn't matter whether you steal, whether you earn. A lot of times people say, your path doesn't matter, your destination matters. But I tell people, for any prep, for any competitive exam prep, the preparation is as important as your destination. That's what I'm telling you. In your prep, the journey is as important as your test. So what do? You have to enjoy the learning part. You have to enjoy the journey. Now, all the things that I said just now, if you can put it in these two words, if you can enjoy, if you can find some joy in learning something new, trust me, it's a huge boost for your preparation. The morale goes up drastically. Your destination matters. I am not denying your destination matters. Your CAT score matters. But what is more as important as that? Your learning part. The more you spend time, the more you love doing something, you get better. We all are students of life. I learned something new. In fact, I learned a couple of new things very recently. I was like, oh, I didn't know this all these years. The search for something new helps me build a better idea, helps me build a good set of questions. I go in search of new concepts. Is there something that I can do with this? That's the joy I do to my job that helps me in creating nice content. Content, I'm not saying my content is great, but then I invest the time to create that content because I take the joy in creating it from scratch. You have to enjoy the process. As much as you enjoy it, your destination, your final result is going to be impeccable. It's going to be astounding. Ensure that you do that. Right? So can you suggest some day-to-day routine for quants if possible? Each topic second class and 2 DPPs, almost 80-85 questions. It's a good range to understand. Yes, absolutely. Now, where is the fun if you don't feel a little nervous? Exactly. Imagine this. You are sitting in a roller coaster. You are nervous. But you want to do it, right? Imagine you are in a theme park. You sit on a roller coaster. Imagine that's on the top of the rail now. It's going to drop. Are you excited? Yes. Why? Because the nervousness comes along. Exactly. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be breathtaking. It's going to be scary. But still enjoy it. Put that perspective when you learn something. Right? Can you suggest some day-to-day routine? We'll do something around it, Omkar. I am not really fond of creating a day-to-day planner. The last 2 times I did for March and April, I was really skeptical about doing it because I am not a big fan of telling you what to do. I understand that most of us need some direction, some guidance, but on a very blunt way put, I shouldn't be telling you what to do. You will have to figure it out. I can give you inputs. I can tell you how to do. I cannot tell you when to do. That would be very unfair. I cannot give you a time frame on this week, 2 days you do percentages. Some people might take 3 days. Now, when I tell 2 days, it puts a pressure on them to finish it in 2 days and they under deliver. I think that's not the best thing to do from here, the least. If I had, let's say, some 9 months of preparation, I would have given you some day-to-day planner. From here, 6 months, it's crucial. I cannot really tell you, do this in 10 days, do this in 5 days. That puts a pressure on you. I don't want to do that pressure. But then I think we'll come around something, we'll figure out a plan and I'll tell you. Right? Any other questions? I think we have pretty much done a lot of things. We have done a lot of talking. Is there anything else? Any other questions? Any queries that we have? All right then. All the best. All the best. 190 days roughly. Starting from here. 190 days, 196 days. Nice. 175. Think about it. We are talking about some 28 weeks. Beautiful spot. It's unbelievable. When the moment when you get your scores, and then when you look at all the efforts that you have put in, and then you look at your scores, that's your reward. Don't worry about the scores today. Worry about how am I going to cover this up? What am I going to do? What strategies am I going to apply? The more you start thinking about it, your scores come out better. So focus on that. We'll see in the next class. We'll have a lot more sessions happening. We'll definitely meet on a monthly basis, obviously. We'll meet in classes. We do a lot of sessions. When we do that, I'll be giving you a few more inputs. What changes in June? We'll talk about in June. What should you change in July? We will have strategic points for every month and then we'll work on it, right? Just go with the flow, everything will fall in place. Absolutely. Absolutely. Enjoy it. Believe in it. Don't put all your faith on me, put some faith on you. Put most of the faith on yourself and a little bit of faith on us. Well, we know how to take you through. You know how to work it out through. We'll figure it out. Right? All right then folks, thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in the next class. Yeah, good to go.